Welcome to the Home Team Podcast. I'm Carl Falconer.
And I'm Danny Arroyo.
And we're tackling homelessness. Today in our podcast, we'll discuss two of our passions, football and ending homelessness. Please join us through 4 quarters, with our topic this week being, what is affordable housing? All right, Danny, how was your weekend?
It was busy, actually. Went to Disney.
Okay.
Again.
Wow.
It was cold.
Yeah.
Visited my parents, took my wife to Tampa, got rid of my daughter's car, finally. So it was a busy weekend.
The old car.
The old car, the old car.
Okay,
So we
okay.
got somebody
Yeah.
to pick it up. And,
Okay, good.
So,
Okay.
yeah, it was a busy weekend, yeah. We had an
Great.
extra day off, so.
Okay,
which was
wonderful.
Good. Which was good. How was yours?
It was good. It was good. I went up to Jacksonville, hung out with family up there. Of course, watched some of the football that went on.
Yep.
But yeah, it was pretty good overall.
Good.
Yeah,
Good,
pretty good weekend.
Yeah. Good football games this week.
Yeah,
It
absolutely.
was good games.
All right, now we'll start it off as we always do with the coin flip. Danny, go ahead and call it in the air.
Heads.
It is heads, so
All
you
right.
get to start us off.
All right, so welcome to our first quarter. I'm going to kick off by defining our topic of the week, and then we will cover some news headlines and announce the results from last week's home team locks of the week. So as Carl mentioned, our topic this week is what is affordable housing? So affordable housing is housing that is priced so individuals and families can afford to live in it without experiencing financial hardship. It generally means that a household spends no more than 30% of its income on rent or mortgage payments, including basic utilities. When housing costs stay within this limit, people are better able to pay for other essentials such as needs such as food, healthcare, transportation, and education. Affordable housing is designed to support low and moderate income households, including workers, seniors, people with disabilities, and families who may struggle with high housing costs. It can include rental homes, subsidized or government-supported housing, income-restricted apartments, and affordable home ownership options. The goal of affordable housing is to provide safe, stable, and decent living conditions while promoting economic stability and preventing homelessness.
All right. Well, we definitely know about affordable housing.
Yep, definitely.
No doubt about that here at Pathlight Home.
Yep.
I think the biggest problem with affordable housing nowadays is that everybody says they're doing affordable housing.
Yep.
If you read the newspaper, if you read headlines, if you look at all, what statements are being made by politicians or statements being made even by service providers, everybody's doing what they call affordable housing. And now I'm using my air quotes.
Yep.
I know our listeners can't see me, but I've got my air quotes in the air. And so one of the things about affordable housing that we need to really stress, that the community really needs to know about, is you need to ask, who is it affordable for?
Yep.
Whenever you hear the term affordable housing, that should be the question that you ask. Who is it affordable for? So one of the terms that we definitely want you to understand is what we call AMI, or Area Median Income. And basically what that does is, just like it describes, the area median income. So it's the middle income for individuals. And there's a number that goes along with that, and you can look it up online for different areas. Every geographic area has one. Typically, what you're looking for is there are basically, I think, 3, maybe 4 different categories of affordable housing. And they're based off of this area median income, the AMI, for an area. So there's 110% AMI, which means they're making 110% of whatever that area median income is. So let's say it's $50,000 for Orange County. I'm not sure exactly what it is, but let's say it's $50,000. If it was 110%, it'd be 110% of that. You'd basically end up with about $55,000.
Right.
So it would be for people who are making that or less, typically. If the affordable housing is for 110% AMI. Then you go down to maybe 80% AMI, and then you go to 60% AMI, And then you go to what we call the extremely low income,
That's the
or 30% AMI.
Yep.
30% AMI and lower is really those people, some of the people that you talked about when you mentioned this, is seniors, people with disabilities, basically people who are on a fixed income of some kind, typically really, really low income. You're talking about oftentimes $15,000 or less in a year that they make based off of whatever their disability or whatever their benefits are.
And those are the most vulnerable.
And those are the most vulnerable. Those are most of the people that we serve. Now, because of funding sources, and usually that's how it's determined who gets to stay in the affordable housing, it's by the funding source, the people who give you the money. So several of our funding sources allow us to go up to 60% area median income. But because we have a restriction that everybody coming in here has to be homeless, oftentimes it's less than 30% AMI or area median income.
We don't have many that are at that 60%.
No, not many at all. And so the thing is that what we're trying to do is we're trying to serve that extremely low income, or ELI they call it, the extremely low portion of the area median income. And to do that, you have to have really, really deep subsidies, or you have to have really, really cheap rent, basically, in order for people to be able to make that. And so I think that's the thing that people have to understand is every single time you see that in the newspaper, it could be completely different for every different category. It could be at 110%. And you could have people who are making $50,000 a year, and they say they're living in affordable housing. Well, it's affordable for people making $50,000 a year.
Exactly.
The reality is, though, in the homeless service sector, that's not our population of people. Our people just do not make that much money. If they did, they would not be homeless, first of all, and second of all, they'd be able to find their own housing out in the community.
Yeah, and we're seeing a lot of properties being built just in this neighborhood alone, and they're calling it affordable. And then when we go in to possibly help some of our residents who want to move on and get something bigger, and we see the rent, we're like, there's no way they're going to afford this, and it's not affordable.
It's not affordable.
Not to the people we serve.
That's correct.
You know, and I would love to see how they are coming up with that. You know, because you see some apartments that say luxury, right? You know it's coming with all these bougie things.
Right, sure.
But then you see the affordable, and you're like, okay, great, this is going to be $1,000. It's going to be less.
Exactly.
And then you see it, and it's like $1,600, which I think is the fair market
rent
now. It's like $1,675, I think, for a one bedroom.
Right.
So it's not affordable. Not for the people we serve. It's not. So what we have here is affordable. It is in line with the people we serve, with what they're coming in with.
Absolutely.
And because of all the different programs we have, it's different for every resident that comes in, which is great. So, yeah, affordable housing, when they use it, it's like, is it really?
Exactly.
Like, how are you defining it? I would love to hear how they define affordable housing.
Well, and everybody defines it differently, and that's the problem. That's why when you hear it in the community, what you need to ask yourself is, who's it affordable for?
Right.
And you need to ask, who are you serving?
Yeah.
And then you got to find out about that area median income.
Yeah. And then you look at some of the affordable, some of the properties that they're building in low income areas, such as where we at.
Oh yeah.
And it's still the amount of rent. It's not affordable. It doesn't make any sense. And who are you trying to get in there? Like, what is the population you want to serve?
That's exactly right. Yeah. And the other term now that's coming out that goes along with affordable housing is workforce housing. You hear that a lot.
There's one
Heroes housing.
Yeah, there's one that's being built here. Yeah.
And those are catered towards, again, not necessarily people who are meeting these 30% AMI. That's for sure. They might be at 60. They might be at 80. Then probably more than likely that they're at 110%.
Yep.
But you're talking about teachers, firefighters, police officers. And look, don't get me wrong. We need housing for them to be affordable. Right. But again, there's no real definition of what affordable housing is. And I wish there was. I wish we could all agree across the country that, this number, serving people at this area median income or below, is affordable housing. And then everybody uses that definition. But the problem is everybody keeps moving it. And the reason they keep moving it is because they want you to think it's affordable for everyone. When in fact it's not affordable for most of the people.
It's only a select few that they can get in there.
That's exactly right. Yeah.
All right.
All right. Now let's take a look at some of the headlines from the homeless world. This one comes to us from Hawaii. Hawaii County homeless population grew despite a $33 million investment. Nearly 4 years ago, the Hawaii County Council tackled the local homeless population problem in a big way, earmarking the first funding of what would become $33 million. The results have been disappointing, and council support for the effort seems to be eroding. Last month, a new request for another $6 million for outreach and other homeless programs barely made it through on a 5-4 council vote. I'm here pondering, said Puna Council member Ashley Kierkowitz during a discussion of the latest round of homelessness funding. Have the tens of millions of dollars that Hawaii County has invested in this program, have we made a dent? Are we better off as a community? Because when I'm outside and I'm walking through communities of downtown Pahoa and downtown Hilo, it doesn't look like we're better off, she said. I have to recognize the reality of what we're seeing.
This would have been a fumble, too.
Yeah, it could have been a fumble a little bit, but and the fumble in this is that it depends on how they're marking this. Again, when I read this article, and of course there's more to this article, obviously, but they didn't talk about any numbers. They didn't talk about any data. They didn't talk to any homeless service providers. I mean, it's skewed, right? Just walking outside and seeing, homeless people out on the street, that doesn't tell you anything. That's anecdotal evidence at best.
I would have liked to have seen, how many people are homeless in the county? How many are, how much housing is there? How many people did they get into housing last year? What services are they providing? And then they're asking for $6 million more to do outreach. And so what did the first $33 million go to?
That's true. Yes. And again, I think what it speaks to is that people anecdotally, when they see people out on the streets, think the problem is just automatically getting worse. Yep. Okay, I see people, it's getting worse. It didn't solve the problem. We had $33 million, and here's a guy panhandling on the corner. Well, there could be 10 guys out there if you didn't spend that $33 million. But again, you really got to look at this and you got to figure out, obviously, where did the money go? What did you use the money for? But also, you got to figure out time has something to do with it, And again, 4 years is a long time, so they should have some programs up and running, but you don't know about that either. You don't know if those programs got delayed. You don't know if, the programs were spread out over different areas. I mean, there's a whole lot of information that's missing from this. Just the fact that their homeless population grew and they spent $33 million. Okay, well, the other part of it is what's happening with your housing costs. And I've heard that in Hawaii, it's very, very expensive to live, which means there's plenty of people, I'm sure, that are getting left out and that are becoming homeless. And so all of those things factor into this.
And how much affordable housing is there?
How much affordable housing?
How much affordable housing is there? Because it is
affordable for.
And who is it affordable for, right?
That's exactly right.
Again, what is the medium income there?
That's right.
I mean, this would have been I wanted more to get more data out of it. Because right now, all I'm reading is you wasted the money.
Yeah, exactly.
But you didn't give me if there was any positive outcomes out of it.
That's right. So, that's right. And that's the headline. I mean, that's the headline. And I think that's a real bad slant on trying to, dig into this and trying to figure out where the money is and what happened and things like that. And so it's just, again, it's easy to say that the problem is getting worse, but you've got to have data, you got to have information, you got to be able to back these things up, and you got to ask yourself what's really happening with these dollars and what's going on. Can't just be anecdotal. It can't just be somebody walking outside.
Right.
That's like walking outside here, of our apartment and saying, okay, all of Orlando now, it's not raining in all of Orlando.
Right.
Because I walked outside.
And it's sunny. And it's sunny.
No. There's lots of places where it could be raining.
And the way Orlando is, you walk up one block, it's raining, and the other one it's sunny.
The other one it's not. Exactly.
That's how Florida is.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, so anyway.
Well, I hope they get to fix this because that's a lot of money.
It is a lot of money. All right. let's see how our Cowboys and Bears.
Our Cowboys didn't do anything.
Okay, Cowboys didn't
so
do
we can
anything.
skip that one. Yeah.
Well, they did fire their defensive coordinator.
Yes, yep. They haven't hired anyone yet.
They haven't hired anybody yet, but they're trying, right? They're going through the process, and hopefully they'll get somebody really good.
I think there'll be a lot of more moves when the season is officially over. I think that's when they start kind of.
Well, and you got draft picks, right? I mean, you gave up Micah Parsons, so you got some draft picks coming up in the draft, and we'll talk about that when we get to our draft day edition of the podcast.
See who they're bringing in.
Yeah, they should have some. They should have some good picks. So whoever the new defensive coordinator is should have some, some talent to play with. Hopefully. As far as my Bears, we ended our streak. We were rolling along there, but couldn't get over the hump. The Rams, we played the Rams at home. Obviously, it was the second week of the playoffs. The Rams beat us 20-17. It went into overtime.
That last pass in the
Caleb
fourth quarter,
Williams made a fantastic pass, of course,
I started cheering, and I was like, wait a minute, I'm not a Bears fan. But that last pass, I was by myself at home, and I started like, oh my God. And I was like, wait a minute, that's not my team.
Yes, it was pretty
They
fantastic.
had a good season. Listen, they had considering what you had said in the beginning of the podcast, what you thought they were going to be to what they were. I mean, it's very promising for next year.
I agree. Yeah. I agree. I think we have a lot of pieces in place. I think we have to do a little bit more on the defensive side. We got to really, kind of get our defense up to speed. I'd like to see them get a really good pass rusher. I think that's what they really need. Is if they can get someone who can apply a little bit of pressure there, I think we'll be ready to go. We'll be ready to contend for the Super Bowl next year.
You guys keep going the way you did this year, I think.
Yeah,
got a good chance in your conference. So
absolutely.
All right, so let's. That wraps up the first quarter. We'll be back after this break.
Hello, everyone. I'm Carl Falconer, the president and CEO of Pathlight HOME, and I'm often asked by many in the community, what can I do to help end homelessness? I would like to invite you to join Pathlight HOME's efforts. Pathlight HOME is a 501c3 nonprofit organization in Central Florida. We currently have 560 units of housing that we provide to individuals experiencing homelessness, but we also provide additional support through employment resource centers and mental health services. We have a drop-in day center where people can come in from the heat, do laundry, get meals, all in preparation to get them into housing eventually and off the streets. Community involvement is key to the success of our efforts, and we love when community members want to get involved with Pathlight HOME. There are 3 things we invite you to do to help. Number 1, consider supporting us with funding. No donation is too small, and every dollar has an impact on our community. You can go to pathlighthome.org and click our donate button to contribute anytime. Number 2 is volunteering. We'd love to have volunteers come in and help us with any of our projects. We have ongoing projects and needs, but are also open to individuals and groups sharing specific talents in ways that build up our residents. Number 3 is take a tour with us. Come here to our facility and see what we do for yourself. It's the best way to get an inside look at what we're doing at Pathlight HOME each day. We think it's important to understand the work it takes to fight homelessness and love the opportunity to meet community members who are passionate about the issue. We love our Central Florida community and are grateful every day for the continued support. And again, to get involved, go to pathlighthome.org. Thank you. This is the second quarter. We're getting a little deeper into a homelessness topic with something we call offense versus defense. We will each take turns discussing some opposing viewpoints of our topic this week. The question we asked this week is, should affordable housing be a top priority for communities and governments? Please remember that we are trying to show both sides of the issue. These do not necessarily reflect our individual stances on these positions. So, Danny, you get to start us off with the pros, or yes, affordable housing should be a top priority for communities and governments.
All right. So first is affordable housing helps reduce homelessness by giving people a stable and safe place to live. Without worrying about shelter, individuals can focus on work, education, and personal growth. Next, it improves overall health, since people with stable housing are less likely to experience stress, illness, and mental health struggles. Next is children in affordable housing have better chances of success in school because they experience fewer disruptions and more stability. Next, it strengthens communities by creating more diverse, inclusive neighborhoods and reducing poverty-related issues. Next is affordable housing can boost the local economy by allowing workers to live closer to their jobs, reducing commuting costs, and increasing productivity. And lastly, it promotes dignity and equality by ensuring that everyone, regardless of income, has access to a basic human need, a safe home. So, Carl, you have cons, the no's.
I have the cons. No. Affordable housing projects can be expensive to build, maintain, and manage, which may strain government budgets and taxpayer money. So again, making it a priority might be a little bit challenging from a taxpayer or government budget standpoint. Long-term funding is required to keep housing affordable, and this can be difficult during economic downturns, again, with the funding.
Yep.
Some residents worry that affordable housing might increase crowding or put pressure on local schools, transportation, and healthcare services. Yeah, okay. I don't, yeah, okay. Yeah. Next one.
Keep it moving.
There can be concerns about declining property values, even though research often shows this fear is overstated. Next, zoning laws and neighborhood opposition can slow down or block affordable housing projects. That we know that to be true.
Yep.
With the NIMBY, of course, not in my backyard.
I was going to say that, yeah.
Exactly. And finally, if not properly planned and supported, affordable housing developments may struggle with maintenance or access to resources. All right, let me talk about yours first. Yes, I think affordable housing obviously reduces homelessness. We know about that, and it helps people in all aspects of their life, health, and so on and so forth. Yep. Children, that's a big one. Families, really. Children in affordable housing have better chance of success, and the evidence shows that, the data shows that. It strengthens communities by creating more diversity. I think that's a real strength that people don't think about. Is it really does, by bringing affordable housing into a community, even a partial portion of the community, it really does help add to the flavor of the community. It can boost the local economy. Yes and no. I mean, yeah, not to say that other things can't boost the economy either. I don't think, affordable housing is the only thing. It does promote dignity and equality by assuring that everyone, has a basic right. And again, most of yours, I think, are focused on the basic rights and the positive aspects of affordable housing. Right. But it's not just affordable housing, it's housing, The positive aspects of somebody being housed, which again goes back to the whole idea of should it be a right for people? We pretty much have, there's only certain things I think that most people can agree that everybody should have, right? They should have food, they should have shelter, right? Maybe transportation, and healthcare, right?
Yep.
Those things. Yep. I mean, it's pretty much a given that if you don't have those things, you're going to suffer in the community. Right. And the community is going to suffer because of that. Because
now that more resources have to be spent.
That's exactly right.
And more services. Exactly right. And so I think for yours, again, that NIMBY one, of course, putting people, building properties on certain zones where you're going to have politicians probably against it.
Yeah.
And also just the first one with building, maintaining, and managing. I mean, we've seen firsthand how hard it is to get.
Oh, absolutely.
Just property in period.
Absolutely.
Any property that's already been built. I was just telling my parents this weekend because they went to Maxwell Garden. They went to the thrift store. They went to check it out.
Okay. Yeah.
So they didn't know that was ours. They thought we just owned. And I said, no, we have these two properties.
Right.
So I told them that we went to Dundee. And because they live about 20 minutes. And I said, it's very far. And they were like, we know. And I said, we saw a property, but it takes a while to even buy a property, go through the whole process of.
It does.
So it's not that easy to just, hey, there's a property, let's buy it. There's so many red tape we have to go through and so many. And then to decide what it's going to cost, how much the rent's going to be. So it's the first one I kind of understand it.
Yeah.
That it is difficult to purchase anything. So
Yeah. Well, but I think also that speaks to the whole idea that if you're going to have affordable housing, you've got to have a plan. You've got to have a long-term plan that is constantly adding, maintaining, building affordable housing.
Yeah.
You can't just do like most communities do where they have these one-offs, oh, okay, we're going to give $10 million today and that's going to solve the problem forever and ever and ever. No, this is
like
an
us. It's
ongoing
like us.
thing.
We've gone to see properties and we don't even have it yet, and we're already planning what it's going to be.
That's
what
right.
it's going to cost.
You got to
who we're going to serve.
That's
and just
right.
start planning
5
ahead.
years, 10 years,
Exactly.
15.
Because if not, you're going to go in blind and it's going to fail.
But in communities, you've got to have multiple projects going on over and over and over again.
Yep.
We just talked about Hawaii spending $33 million.
Yep.
Well, sure, if you spend $33 million one time and then expect that to last for 10 years,
Right.
no, that's not going to solve your problem.
Yep.
What you need to do is you need to have a consistent, which is why they're going back and asking for another $6 million.
Yeah.
You've got to have a consistent flow
Yep.
of funding, of planning, of management.
Yep.
And then it comes down to, one of the biggest problems that we have here and in most places is land. You've got to have land available that you can expand and you can move on to and be able to build on.
But then it goes back to one of your other points is, so now you build on the land.
Yep.
Or you want to build on the land,
That's
but
right.
then you have residents
You
who
have
are against it with
residents,
that whole NIMBY
zoning
and
laws.
not wanting it, and then you have again politicians who are
That's
not
right.
in favor of, they don't want it in their district.
That's
and
exactly
again,
right.
it's just a lot of red tape on it. So
Yeah, which is why we've got to come up with a plan. We have to figure out a way to be able to create the entire structure or create the entire plan for affordable housing over a long term. It can't just be like I said, a one-off. It's got to be planned out so that you've got, let's say, 10 projects in 10 years, right? And everybody agrees that we're going to stick to this. So if the politicians change, if the neighborhoods change, if anything changes, doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter because
we're
still have a
still
plan.
sticking to this. Exactly.
Right.
And being able to go follow it through all the way to the end of
Yep,
it.
definitely.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Well, Pathlight's position, Pathlight Home believes affordable housing is the foundation for ending homelessness and creating long-term stability. We support a housing-first approach, providing safe, permanent homes as the first step so individuals can rebuild their lives and access the support they need to succeed. So, obviously, we're a big fan of affordable housing. As we've talked about, we're trying to serve the lowest income individuals that we possibly can, and we're always trying to add more and more housing that's available for them.
And then have them come and move in and then provide all the other services
That's
and
right.
support, whatever
That's
it is
exactly
that they
right.
need. We just keep helping them until they tell us they don't need us anymore.
Absolutely. Okay.
So we have made it to the halfway point, and during halftime, we want to take a moment for fan interaction and highlight an inspired quote related to housing and homelessness.
All right. Now let's take a moment to hear from our listeners. This one comes from Jason. How does affordable housing improve quality of life?
So I kind of said it in my prose, right?
A little bit,
It's their health,
Yep.
less stress, their
Yep.
mental health.
Yep.
Their kids
Yep.
can focus better in school. We see that a lot with
Yep.
kids in school who are basically meal to meal and don't know if they're living in cars.
Absolutely.
So it's just making them be more secure, not have to worry about check to check, worry
right.
about where they're going to get food from. So it's just a stress reliever knowing
Yeah.
that they can afford where they're at and they don't have to worry about being homeless again or being evicted. And so, because all that, once you get evicted, it creates a whole other mess for you to try to even get something else. But yeah, it creates a sense of peace, I guess.
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
that you're somewhere safe.
Well, and Daisy, the second question that we have here is kind of the flip side of that, which is one of the things I was going to bring up, but I'll ask the question first. How does affordable housing benefit the community? So you talked about how it helps the people who are in affordable housing, but how does it help everybody else in the community?
Well, again, like I said earlier about the resources.
Yeah.
You're not spending more on resources
right.
and services, and because that all reduces because you have people
That's right.
in stable housing. You don't have people on the street. We're spending more money with people that are on the street or in shelters.
Yep.
So it kind of, you're not saving, but you can use that money for something else.
That's right.
Whatever you save on, you could apply to something else,
Yeah.
and use it for other services.
Absolutely.
More veterans, more, elderly, whatever it is you want to use it on. So
Yeah. I also think that it creates good neighbors.
Oh, definitely.
I mean, when, you think about it, when your neighbors don't have to worry about their housing costs or don't have to worry about whether they're going to get kicked out on the street or where they're going to live or any of that, neighbors are better.
Yep.
I mean, crime goes down. People aren't as desperate. People aren't out there looking for things. They're not bothering other people. They're not trying to get stuff. It basically makes the community stronger and better because it allows people to have less stress in their community overall. And that's what we all want. We all want good neighbors. We all want, people in their homes. We all want people, living really good lives. And that's what I think affordable housing allows people to do
definitely.
in the community. And it makes it better for everybody else
For everybody,
as well.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
I wish more people see that.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree.
All right, so it's time to get inspired by our quote of the week. So this quote comes from former President Barack Obama. Decent, affordable housing should be a basic right for every American. That's it.
Wow, we could do a whole podcast on that one, Dan. And in fact, this one, obviously we're talking about affordable housing, and we wanted to try to explain it to people and talk about, the pros and the cons of it and things like that. But should it be a basic right for every American? I think so. I think you think so.
Yep.
Obviously, the former President Barack Obama said this, and he believes it should be. The question is, how do we get to that point? I mean, that's really what it comes down to, is getting there. I don't think people are opposed necessarily to people being in housing. I think they're opposed to some of the ways that they think it happens. We hear people talking about, oh, well, you can't just give them free housing and then, they're not going to do anything, blah, 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 which is never the case, by the way. Almost every program that we have, people have to pay a portion of their rent.
Yeah.
They just can't pay the whole rent in most cases with subsidized housing we're talking about. And so should it be a basic right? Yes, it should be a basic right. Again, there are certain things that we hopefully can agree: housing, food, healthcare, security. Those things should be basic rights for every single person that's here, especially in the United States, because we have the money for this. It's
regardless of your income, regardless of what the status of where at. Everyone needs. Is that right? It's a human right. It's a human right.
Those basic things to survive from day to day, and that would make our community so much better if everybody had that availability.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. Well, that concludes our halftime. Please stay with us after this short message.
Hello, I'm Gigi Ramirez, the Senior Director of Fundraising and Engagement here at Pathlight HOME. For over 30 years, we've helped more than 8,000 people transition from homelessness to hope. But when someone moves from the streets to their own home, they often have nothing. That's why we provide immediate essentials, everything from bedding and food to soap and cookware, to help them truly feel at home. Beyond housing, Pathlight offers career training and supportive services, like our 12-week culinary program, helping residents gain skills, find jobs, and rebuild independence. You can be part of the story. Volunteer your time, donate essential goods, or become a monthly Pathlight hero, ensuring every neighbor has a chance to thrive. Visit pathlighthome.org to donate today.
It's now time to kick off the third quarter by highlighting the goodwill and good works in the NFL community and announcing our NFL Home Team Locks of the Week. So
we can skip that Home Team Locks of the Week section.
Oh,
Danny.
no,
we don't need to go over that. I think we covered that already.
Yeah,
didn't we already talk about that?
Nope, still on this page.
Did.
All right, so
okay.
So the NFL's player spotlight this week is safety Julian Love. Has been selected as the club's winner for the 2025 Walter Payton NFL Man of the Year. Love has consistently demonstrated a commitment to serving underserved communities through a wide range of impactful initiatives. He has sponsored tuition-based scholarships for students in his alma mater, Nazareth Academy. He's donated $25,000 to supply essentials, clothing, and appliances for children in need at the Boys and Girls Club. We were just talking about kids and kind of
absolutely
struggling. Distributing coats and winter essentials to over 300 children at the Seattle YMCA, and provided a Thanksgiving meal for 150 youth in Bellevue. Last year, his annual Julian Love Youth Football Camp welcomed over 400 participants free of charge and included more than $40,000 in gear and resource donations. He's partnered with Dick's Sporting Goods to host a back-to-back school shopping event for underserved youth. In collaboration with Safeway, Love contributed $400,000 to provide SNAP benefits to Washington families and supports Every Mom Chicago, a nonprofit supporting expectant mothers in underserved communities.
He's doing a lot.
He's doing a lot.
He's doing a lot. And he's putting his money where his mouth is. I mean, oftentimes, you see celebrities go to events or, do an appearance or something like that. But he's putting his money where his mouth is.
Definitely.
I mean, he's putting it out there.
He's putting it out there,
And that's great.
Very good. All right, so now we are going to do our lock of the weeks. So Carl wants to bypass this, but we have to follow the script. so last week, Carl had Houston versus New England.
Yeah, I
and
got the win.
New England won, like we were talking about. There was a kind of sloppy game on both sides.
Yeah, it was a very sloppy game, absolutely.
So you're
8-13.
Oh, you got 2 more points. Good for you.
Good for you.
Good for you. And I had the Bills versus the Broncos. The
Yeah.
Broncos defeated the Bills, which is surprising.
I know.
And I am at a whopping 13-8.
13-8.
And the season's almost over. This is
Man,
fantastic.
I'm going to have to make the Super Bowl worth 10 points or something, Dave, to try and catch up here.
All right, that's fine.
I'm going to have to do something.
So this week we have 2 games.
That's right.
So you have New England versus Denver.
Yep, I got Denver at home, and they lost their quarterback, and that's going to be a hard game. But we'll see.
All right.
We'll see how it comes out.
And I have the LA Rams. I don't know if you heard earlier, but they defeated the Chicago Bears.
No, I didn't hear that.
No, you didn't hear that? Okay.
No.
So, yeah, they defeated the Bears, but we have they're going against Seattle. And my team is Seattle that I'm picking for that.
Yeah.
So we'll see who that is. I think
And Seattle looked really, really good.
They did.
Man, they crushed San Francisco.
They did. That was a whooping,
That was a whooping.
Yep. But maybe, I think maybe 10 points for the Super Bowl might be see how you feel.
Do I get first pick?
The way your score is and the way your fantasy football went this year, go right ahead.
All right. Okay, good. We'll see how that goes.
Yep, so we'll see.
All right. Well, stay tuned for our wrap up after this message.
Hello, I'm Danny Arroyo, Vice President of Programs at Pathlight HOME. If you're new to our mission, welcome. We're dedicated to changing the lives of those experiencing homelessness and hardship through housing, support services, and career training. What began as one dream for a compassionate solution to homelessness has become a reality. Since our funding, we've provided housing for more than 8,000 people, offering shelter, opportunity, and hope. This month, as we honor National Homeless Awareness Month, we are also kicking off our end-of-year campaign, a time to come together and give back. Every contribution, whether monetary or in kind, directly supports our residents and the community we serve. No gift is too small to make a difference. As we celebrate our journey from dream to reality, thank you for being part of this mission. Together we can make the dream of ending homelessness a reality in our community. Welcome to the fourth quarter, where we will wind down this episode by reflecting on a homelessness MVP and fumble of the week before wrapping up with our key takeaway.
All right, let's start with our MVP of the week. Last week, with colder temperatures expected across Central and North Florida, counties activated cold weather and warming shelters to protect residents who lack adequate heat or housing. These shelters provide a safe, warm place to stay overnight during periods when temperatures fall to dangerous levels. And the Fox 35 storm team anticipated lows in the 30s and 40s across all of Central Florida by Wednesday and feels like temperatures in the 20s. Shelters who participated were the Sheltering Tree at Rock Transformation Center in Flagler County, Life Point Church in Eustis, Barnett Park Recreation Center Gym in Orlando, Coalition for the Homeless in Orlando, Orlando Union Rescue Mission, which is right down the street from us in Orlando, First United Methodist Church in St. Cloud, Iglesia del Nazareno, Casa de Vida.
I put that one on purpose. I hear you say it.
In Kissimmee, Poinciana Christian Church in Kissimmee, and the Bridge Neighborhood Center in DeLand.
And I wanted to highlight them just to show how we all work together when it gets to cold night, when it gets to hurricane, and they're still doing it now.
Yes,
so this was last week, but we still been in a cold front. So they are doing it. I think it was yesterday and today as well that they were opening up.
And that's a lot.
And there were more. There were more. So I just wanted to highlight some of the ones we know, some of those we work with. But it's great how they all just get together to.
And another point is in Florida, it gets cold. I mean, you know, we think about the northern states as the only place where there's actually cold weather, but the reality is it gets cold down here, and even 30 degrees can be really, really cold outside, especially when it's wet, especially when it's windy. All those different factors factor into it, and making sure that people stay warm, stay safe. Again, we go back to that basic right of shelter, of having a place where they can get out of the elements. And, kudos to all of these programs for stepping up.
And I didn't put in there either, but I want to give kudos to Lynx Bus because they coordinate all of the transportation from one location to a certain shelter that's opening up. And they've done that forever since I've been working here.
And give free bus rides.
And they give free bus rides
during the cold night shelter.
They just transport everybody back and forth to the location.
Fantastic.
So it's really,
Absolutely.
Really great.
Yes. Good
All right.
shout out.
So now on to our fumble of the week. So this comes from California. California counties must jump through new hoops to get homelessness funds. California Governor Newsom's administration and the legislature are adding new strings to that money, which they hope will help address one of the state's most obvious policy failures. Despite California's large recent investment in homelessness, encampments are still rampant on the city streets. But cities and counties already are chafing under the tightening requirements, which they worry will make it harder to access crucial state funds without directly improving conditions on the street. To access state homeless housing assistance and prevention money, cities and counties are being pressured to enact a policy regarding regulating homelessness encampments that passes state muster. A potential challenge in a state where local jurisdictions' rules on encampments vary greatly, and many localities have no policy at all. That's okay. He provided a hypothetical model ordinance that lays out exactly what he'd like to see banned. Camping in one place for more than 3 nights in a row, building semi-permanent structures such as a makeshift shacks on public property, and blocking streets on sidewalks.
More than 3 nights in a row.
Let's keep going. The state also wants localities to get a pro-housing designation, a special status awarded to places that go above and beyond to build housing. It's a distinction that only 60 of California's 541 cities and counties, home to just 15% of the state population, have achieved so far. 60.
60 out of 541.
Wow. The governor said his office has been awarded $3.3 billion to create more than 5,000 residential treatment beds and more than 21,800 outpatient treatment slots across California.
Yeah, and again, we talked about this a little bit before the segment, Danny, and 21,800 outpatient treatment slots for people who are homeless. So outpatient treatment, for those of you who don't know in the community, do not put people in beds. Basically, you go into the office and you get some counseling or whatever, and then you got to leave
go
again.
back out.
Well, where are you going to go? I mean, creating outpatient treatment slots for people who are out on the streets, what good does that do?
So I'm going to talk to you. I'm going to try to guide you and help you. But by the way, we're done. Go back to your cabin.
Go back to your
shack.
Go back to your shack, but you can't stay there for more than 3 days either. Because then we're going to move you to somewhere else. I mean, it's just. These are just, again, this is just another example of politicians who don't know how to solve this problem, trying to come up with these crazy ideas and these crazy ways. Again, they have this pro-housing designation, and only 60 of the 541 eligible geographic
and counties,
locations
yep.
are able to even meet this.
Yep. This is one of the things that we talk about, me and you, all the time, is providers, city, county, whoever, is doing all these services with no solutions.
No solutions.
It's like you want to put a little Band-Aid on it, and it's not.
Right.
It's not fixing the problem.
And again, none of this speaks to anything that homeless service providers came up with. The governor's coming up with this on his own because he thinks he knows.
He's an expert.
He's
an expert.
Right.
Yeah,
He's an expert. He thinks he's an expert on this problem and
Yep.
has no idea what he's talking about.
Yep.
So what he needs to do is he needs to get out of the way. He needs to talk to the people who are actually serving the people and say, what is it that you need and how can we support you
Yeah.
to be able to get people off of the street? But he's not.
I'd love to know what his answer is if you ask him, well, what do you do after the 3 nights in a row?
Right.
I mean,
they move them.
Right.
That's
so you're just
you
moving one
can't
problem.
be in one place.
You're moving one issue to another.
You're just moving them around.
It just doesn't make sense.
No, it doesn't make any sense whatsoever.
Go Newsom.
Yeah, and finally here, and by the way, Governor Newsom has announced his run for presidency in 2028. So, I'm sure none of this has to do with that, right, Danny? I mean, he doesn't want to look like he's hard on homelessness or anything, for his political campaigns or anything. Yeah, anyway. And finally, here's our key takeaway for this episode. Affordable housing is essential because it provides stability, dignity, and opportunity. When people have a safe, affordable place to live, they are healthier, more secure, and better able to work, learn, and contribute to their communities. I think the key word there is contribute. If you want good neighbors, if you want people who will give back to the community, if you want people who will add to the community instead of take away from the community, they need to have affordable housing.
Yep.
It's as simple as that.
Simple as that. I mean, that
Absolutely.
pretty much sums it up for them, about what affordable housing is. It's to better people and make them part of the community, right?
Part of the community.
More involved,
And
volunteering,
and a
giving back,
value add to the community. Absolutely.
with less stress, with less, so,
Absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yep. All right, so that concludes our episode for the week. Remember, if you have any questions or comments for us, please email us at questions@pathlighthome.org. As always, we leave the last words for our beloved co-founder, the late Reverend Fred Maxwell. Take it away.
I'm still dreaming. That we will become able and sufficient to increase the housing of homeless. This is merely a beginning.